Well, hello, my Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising sign. Welcome to your What Do I Need read for this full moon in Virgo to new moon next in Aries, March 2020. I am your reader for the moment, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and really honored to be serving my Cancerians. I was raised by one. My mommy is a Cancerian, and I'm going to see her for St. Patty's Day. I'm driving up to Saratoga to go visit them. I'm so excited. But that being said, welcome. Let's get down to business, shall we? We are looking at this full moon in Virgo where Mercury finally goes direct, and I am a Virgo, and it's been driving me nuts. This one we're ruled by Mercury. So churning out these videos in a way, the technical side of it has been insane. The artistic, spiritual side has been lovely, actually. So I hope you've all been enjoying, but if you are new to the channel, please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and by all means comment as you like. I do certainly like and hit that heart icon thing, and sometimes I actually reply if time and expediency, like if it's really something that I'm intuitively guided to respond to, I will. I am a Pisces moon, so I do understand the water sign side of life in that sense. So let's get down to business. March 9th is when we hit the full moon. Mercury goes direct. And new moon in Aries is the 24th, right? Yeah, March 24th. So we're looking at a waning moon here. So we're looking at kind of letting things go, obviously, instead of the waxing side, the waning side. And now that Mercury, well, it hasn't happened yet, but when Mercury is retrograde, to actually have that move forward during a waning moon, it's a good time to de-escalate, particularly to release all that tension. So let's do this. This is a very simple read, relatively quick, shooting for between 25 and 30 minutes to kind of work with my 7 different decks, each voices of the different pantheons that I work with. You'll see how that unfolds. 1 card each, so really 7 cards. Let's see how this one goes. Oh, really important though, this is a general read, so please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. That's why I'm doing sun, moon, and rising signs and trying to keep them relatively short. I mean, I just did hour-long readings close to for the Path of True Love, so this is a little bit more fun, a little bit footloose and fancy-free, so to speak, for Virgo. Right? So if you can remember to stay present, you watch me, I'm going to be breathing. Stay in the present moment to slow it down because the energy comes through very quickly. This is my last reading for the day. This will be number 5 that I've done today with that clarifying video that I did that is in the description box called clarifying how I bless the cards. Yeah, because I bless the decks, how I bless the decks. Is the name of it, before I hit the record button. And that's why I'm in usually such a good mood once I hit it, because if you watch it, you'll see why. Cool. We are going to start with the Caroline Myss archetype deck. All the decks that I read are in the description box at the bottom of the description box. So go have a look-see-duck-see, and on the way down, you may want to peruse my other stuff. Like I have Vimeo on demand stuff there, classes that I taught that you can get on demand, and ebooks and all that kind of cool stuff. Cool. Why? Because I'm a professional witch, professional intuitive. This is my job. This is what I do 24/7, 365, because muggles work from sun to sun, but witches' work is never done. Let's dive in, shall we? Take a nice deep breath. Here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, 1 card. A Caroline Myss archetype card that this Cancerian sun, moon, rising sign is dealing with within themselves, within another person, or within a situation, possibly any combination of those, all 3 maybe, for this full moon in Virgo to new moon next in Aries. What do they need? So what do I need read? What do they need to know? What's the lead in the gold of their soul power being developed, or one that they are dealing with for this full moon to new moon next? Now, before I look at it, there's a shadow and a light side written on these cards. The shadow is supposed to be toxic and triggery. Carl Jung. The shadow, right? It's Jungian psychology. Oh, and this one, yeah, you're not going to like this one, but do you understand the light side is what we are shooting for? That's the brilliant. So as toxic as the shadow is as brilliant as the light is, but the converse is also true. As beautiful and wonderful as an archetype sounds, just as deadly and as toxic as the shadow is. Now, what I'm going to tell you before I tell you what this card is everybody has this archetype. Not everybody has the artist archetype. Not everybody has the healer archetype. But there are 4 archetypes in the survival family. Different groups, families of archetypes. Read Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Myss. Life-changing book for me. About, what was that, the 80s that came out? I don't even remember. That feels like it was so long ago. We're dealing with the victim archetype, but the light side of the victim is the victor, as in victory, as in the spoils of war go to the victor, right? So this is all about the alchemy of lead and gold. Lead has 3 more atoms than gold, so something must be given up, transformed, burned off. But keep in mind, we're dealing with a waning moon here, which is all about releasing, right? All about that. So wherever you are feeling victimized or that you want to victimize, know that there is an opportunity here for you to survive this world in a way where you get to be victorious. Cool, cool? Let's read this for you. The shadow attribute of the victimizer, because really it's 2 leads to 1 gold here. Right, because the guides are saying, well, because every victimizer was victimized, right? So that's how we learn it, right? What was done unto us, we do unto others, sometimes without even realizing we're doing it until later. The shadow attribute, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity. We've all done it, right? We have all done it, but that's really hemorrhaging our soul power, right? Inability to maintain personal boundaries, and that's a big part of the victim archetype. The victim archetype is the soul guardian power of self-esteem and boundaries. Self-esteem, which is not a noun, it's a verb, right? So let's look at the victor, V-I-C-T-O-R, or the light attribute here. Prevents you from letting yourself be victimized, boundaries, or victimizing others, particularly through self-esteem. Now, Carolyn Myss talks a lot about self-esteem, or at least she used to. She's the one who reframed it as being a verb, not a noun. It's something you do, not something that you have, right? Because advertisers will sell you anything. If it's going to give you self-esteem, well, you can't give a verb. You do a verb, right? So there may be some resetting of boundaries here. There might be some clearing your boundaries. Once a boundary is set, it still has to be maintained, right? It's like the weeds may grow over it, around it, through it. Sometimes we need to defend those boundaries for our own self-esteem, for our own sense of self-worth, our own sense of psychic survival. And I don't mean psychic, I mean of the psyche, right? Our psychology. So whether that is you, whether that is someone you are dealing with, whether that is a situation that is particularly victimizing, there is an opportunity for huge alchemy here. And that's why when that card comes up, I really do try and stress to people, even in a personal reading, it's like, know that the opportunity for healing here is huge. So it's funny, the first card down is that. The last card's going to be a healing mantra deck card from Matt Kahn. So I want to see how that plays out. Let's keep going. Let's ask the angels. The archetype cards are the collective pantheons, as I said. Now we'll go one by one through the rest of them and ask them individually. Breathe. Oh, my angels, my angels, my angels, please, one card in clarity. For this Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising sign, for this full moon in Virgo to new moon in Aries, please, my angels, what is your point of view? What do they need for this new moon to full moon next March 2020? Please, my angels, put it right in my hand. Thank you very much. Oh, brilliant. Serenity now! Serenity, little Seinfeldian philosophy there for you. The card of serenity. And of course, I immediately jump to the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Like, you don't have to be 12-stepper to get the power of that prayer. But also know that one of the things that the courage to change the things you can is to change how you are estimating yourself and change your boundaries, shift them. All right. When I teach boundaries, I do, I'm a spiritual teacher. When I teach boundaries, like just even the basic concepts, boundaries do need to shift, because don't talk to strangers is brilliant for a 4-year-old. In this world where it is right now, yeah, you don't want a 4-year-old introducing themselves to strangers on the street. Really bad idea. But not great in a 44-year-old, right? How are you going to order a pizza? You're going to have to talk to strangers eventually. So you see how they shift and change. And because this is a waning moon, maybe some outdated boundaries are falling away, are waning, and you might need to think about, particularly with that Aries new moon, about a new defense. I'm iffy about that word defense, but a new boundary, a new fortification to as a result of re-estimating yourself and saying, well, okay, that doesn't work for me anymore. That doesn't feel right. That's not authentic. This does, right? And really only you, it's the thing about self-esteem. It's self-esteem, not tribe esteem, right? Only you can assess yourself that way. Like self-assessment, self-esteem, self-estimation, those words get very fluid in my mouth. Let's keep going. We are going to use the 2 tarot decks. We're going to next go to the Daughters of the Moon Tarot for the divine feminine, the voices of the goddesses, the collective divine yin of everything that exists in the universe, Daughters of the Moon Tarot. And then for the divine masculine, the voice of my gods, the divine masculine stuff, the divine yang, half of the other half of the universal energy and the entire universe, Mythic Tarot, Juliet Sharman Burke. Let's have a look-see, duck-see. Breathe. Oh, my goddesses, please. Oh, great Hera. Such a Wonder Woman thing. Oh, my goddesses, please. One card. In clarity. For the Cancerian collective. It's a lot of C's. Sun, moon, rising sign. For this full moon in Virgo to new moon in Aries, March 2020, please, what do they need, these beloved Cancerian crablets, for this full moon to new moon next, my goddesses? And we'll say my goddesses 3. There are 3 goddesses that sit in the throne of Cancer for me: Hestia, Hera, Hecate, Virgin, Queen, and Crone. And boy, what a card they give you. 4 of Blades, deception. Are you being deceived? Are you deceiving yourself? Are you deceiving someone else? Now, the thing about it being the voice of the goddesses, the divine feminine, the divine yin, it can be an internal thing. Like you're feeling a certain way, but perhaps not seeing clearly. It is the 4 of Swords, the 4 of Blades, often thought of as a card of meditation and contemplation. And hard to see because people go, oh, that looks just like the 2 of Swords. But there are 2 swords hidden under the bench that she's sitting on, and she can't see it anyway because she's blindfolded, right? A willingness to not see, or I should say an unwillingness to see. So perhaps some meditation, not necessarily contemplation, but sort of going in, chill out, still the mind, go deep, and they're giving me the word self-inquiry. Right? Just start asking questions. The question that I ask myself when I'm feeling that way is, and what's under that? Well, I'm feeling this and this and this and this. Okay, feel that. Why do you feel that? Well, I don't know, but it feels this. Well, what's under that? And you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And usually the soul at some point offers a kernel of truth, or sometimes an entire revelation, and anywhere in between. So if you are being deceived and don't know it, really check in, like really go within. How does this feel? Because the intuition can read energy in the present moment in your personal energy field. But also if you focus on someone in particular, notice the emotions and the feelings that come up. But remember, you can have you can have an emotion about an intuition. Example. Oh, I feel like I can't trust that person. Oh, that feels so horrible. I want to be able to trust them. And then you push it back down. See what I'm saying? Just allow the data, the information to come up for you, because for the divine feminine, the goddesses, to say deception of some kind, it's important to see things clearly. Because I want to see things clearly no matter what happens. I would rather. I'm a Pisces moon. I'm too prone to fantasy, right? But it's my Virgo sun that keeps me anchored. And like, well, what's the actual fact? Please, some tea, some shade, some pink lemonade. What the fuck is going on? Which is why I do these readings. I'm from New York. Please pardon the F-bombs, my Cancerians. I know you're sensitive souls. That's just born this way in New York. Let's ask the divine masculine, the gods. Oh, my gods, my gods, my divine masculines. Please, 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 one card. In clarity for this Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising sign. For this full moon to new moon next, because we've got the victim archetype on the table here with serenity, which is interesting, right? We've got that serenity thing there about being serene, but is that serenity based on deception, or is there a serenity about this deception? So many ways that could play itself out in between those two. So, my gods, if you would please clarify, what do they need, this Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising sign, this full moon in Virgo to new moon next in Aries? The Lover's card. Now, this isn't just the Lover's card. This is the Judgment of Paris. And I don't mean the city, I mean the Greek hero, Paris. The wedding of Cadmus and Harmonia. They did not invite the goddess Eris to the party. Why? Because she's the goddess of discord. She got pissed, grabbed one of the golden apples of immortality, wrote to the most beautiful goddess on it, and hucked it into the reception. 3 goddesses went to get it: Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. The gods were not going to decide who it went to, so they found the fairest, most just man they could find on earth, which was Paris. That's just his name, P-A-R-I-S. Yes, it was a guy before it was the capital of France, apparently. So this is the judgment of Paris, meaning that he has to judge who's the most beautiful goddess that's going to get this, and the repercussions are going to be life-changing. Well, first Hera appeared, my goddess that sits in the Cancerian throne, and she said, "You give me that apple instead of those 2 daughters of mine, and I will give you world domination power. There will be no man more powerful than you, politically or in any way, shape, or form on planet Earth." He goes, "Oh, my queen, please let me think about it," right? Then Athena came, and she said, "Don't give it to her. Give it to me. You won't need political power. You won't need any of that, because you will be the wisest man on earth. You'll be able to walk through any door, figure out any problem, be able to serve or not serve as you so choose with that kind of wisdom." He goes, "Oh, great Athena, great gray-eyed one. Oh, please, thank you so much, but let me think about this." Then Aphrodite shows up, and I love this. She goes, "You're going to give it to them? Sweetheart, look at me. I am the most beautiful goddess." Mind you, Hera and Athena are stunningly, they're goddesses. Of course they're gorgeous. But she said, "If you give that to me, I'll give you your true love. I'll give you the most beautiful woman on the planet as your true love." Well, he gave it to Aphrodite, and she gave him in exchange Helen of Troy, which triggered the Trojan War, right? So not a minor decision, right? This is a major life-changing decision. Sweethearts, get really, really clear. There may very well be, well, there is, according to this, a deception in place that might disturb your serenity. I don't feel like you are the one that is being, that is doing the deceiving in here with this victim card here, sweetheart. Do not be a victim of someone else's deception. If your gut is telling you something's off, something's off. If we taught children that, there would probably be less abductions and molestation and abuse and neglect, because that's about empowerment. In fact, your intuition and your self-esteem are directly linked. I don't care how long this video goes now. This is now a big deal with this Lover's card. A life-changing decision with deception on the table. The more you cultivate your intuition, and what does that mean to cultivate intuition? It means to listen to it, to pay attention to it, and then to act on it. And we are terrified if we act on it rather than only using the mind. And by the way, the mind here is trying to figure out a life-changing decision. the masculine, right? Where the feminine might very well be being deceived, getting information, not wanting to see it, or just feeling like something's off. So you build your self-estimation, right? You clarify your self-estimation by acting on your intuition. And as you act on and as you do that, your intuition gets stronger and stronger, which enhances your sense of self and your self-esteem. So two sides of the same coin there, intuition and self-esteem. In other words, you can get a gut hunch. You can get a real piece of intuitive clarity. And if you can own it, you can act on it, even if you baby step it, pray your way through it. But what most people do is they go, I have this feeling. What do you think? What do you feel? And what if you're asking, what do you think? What do you feel to the person who might be deceiving you? Oh, no, I think you're completely wrong, right? Because they're covering their ass and trying to get out of Dodge, right? Major life decision here with this Lover's card. Take your time. I would put off this decision. I really would, until you get absolute clarity. And remember, you can serenity your way through this. Well, look, if I'm being deceived, there is nothing I can do about the person who deceived me or that I've been deceived. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I have been deceived. But the courage to change the things I can is about going from victim to victimizer, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's something we all have to learn to do, particularly on any kind of spiritual path, because your estimation is beyond anything we can imagine. You're a divine child in a human body, right? You're a spirit in form, ghost in the meat machine, if you will. So this decision that you have to make sure you're getting as much clarity as possible. And that's why we got 3 more cards here in terms of what you need. Let's do just that. The Ascended Masters through the Chuck Spezzano Love Pack. Breathe. I love my Cancerians. I do. Like, I love my mom, right? You know, my roommate from college, Lillian. I've always had crabs in my life. I even have a couple of male crabs in my life. So I will go to bat for you guys. I'll do my best to heal you, and that's also the empathic nature of a Pisces moon. Breathe. Breathe with me, my crablets. Here we go. The Ascended Masters, please, please, please. 1 card in clarity for this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising sign. For this full moon in Virgo to new moon next in Aries. Please, a piece of luck, a piece of healing, a piece of grace, or a piece of the problem. What's going on? What do they need? This Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising sign. This full moon to new moon next, March 2020. One of the problem suits, or either 4 suits, I named them luck, healing, grace, problem. This problem suit is half of the deck, and you got bad choices. Now look, nobody wants to acknowledge their bad choices, but it's how we learn, and nobody makes good choices from womb to tomb, right? That's how we learn. You learn how to make wise choices by making unwise or foolish choices. What I think is cute about this card, she's eating an apple, plucked fresh from the tree, but she can't see that there's a worm in the other side of the apple. It's facing away from her, right? So this might have been something, a bad choice that you just did not have all of the information about, so don't estimate yourself as being too much of a victim or wrong. This was probably orchestrated by the quantum field, the divine plan, to teach you how to trust your gut. If something feels off, it's off. I don't need all the data in front of me to know something feels off here. And be aware of gaslighters. No, everything's fine. You're crazy. Oh, just go take a nap. You're overworked. Meanwhile, they're robbing you blind or whatever it is they're doing, which is a violation of a boundary. You're going to have to set new boundaries here. This is the most intense one I've done today. But so it should be. You are going to wane something out of your life. You are going to move something out. You are going to work your way through whatever bad choices, even if they're not your bad choices. You're going to be dealing with somebody's bad choice, and do you want to be left, what is that word? Holding, I forget the phrase now. Holding the bag? I forget. There's a lot of energy going on here with this. Do you want to be left, kind of there to clean things up? Really tune in. It still feels like for a great, give me a percentage here, 85% of the collective, we'll have the opportunity to head this one off at the pass if you kind of do the work. And we're going to ask the higher selves, your higher self in particular, the higher selves of all involved, through the Whispers of Love Oracle, the whisper of love from your higher self, to give you some guidance and grace for this. So please breathe. Holding the bag. Okay. Please, the higher selves of all involved. One card in clarity, a Whisper of Love Oracle card for this Cancerian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising sign for this new moon in Virgo to, this full moon in Virgo to new moon next in Aries, please. What do they need? Give them the whisper of love that they need for this full moon to new moon next, March 2020. New love. Embrace this new opportunity of love that is here. This may pertain to work opportunities or spiritual growth. I'm going to say it's the latter. I'm going to say this is about spiritual growth. This is about a new love for yourself, about loving yourself, casting a boundary, right? Casting a circle, if you like, saying, you tried to deceive me. I know something's off. You might as well come true, come clean, come true about it, right? Be true about this, because I'm loving myself. So the lovers here can absolutely be the decision to not just carve a boundary, that's the what, not just self-esteem, self-estimation, that's the what, but the why, because I'm loving myself in a new way. And that means saying no. And that means pulling out. I don't care if I'm contracted. This doesn't feel right. You usually find out later why. Right? Sometimes it's just that thing of something's off here. I knew it. I didn't know what it was, but I felt it. To really see this as a new love. Now, if this is a new love romantic relationship here, and I would agree, you know, if I was watching this reading, but they've got the lovers. But remember, the lovers isn't about romance, except that it's a life-changing decision you make. Can we even catch the moment when we decide that we've fallen in love with somebody? It is a decision whether or not to act on that or not. But what we really want to do is catch this, all three goddesses. Athena, Aphrodite, Hera. Wise Athena, loving Aphrodite, powerful Hera decisions. You get that? It's bringing together the head, the heart, and the throat chakra in congruency. That's hard to do, but it's worth it. That's how you make the most wise, loving, empowering decisions that you can make that you usually don't regret. Other people may, though. But that's what your soul came in to do, is to empower yourself that way, particularly if you're the one who has been victimized. I don't want to air quotes victimized, but you have the opportunity. It's happening so that you can learn how to alchemize it into victory. Just saying. Last card down, like I said, I wanted to see what this healing mantra card is with that victim archetype. So breathe. Last card down, my Ascended Masters, please. Not that I'm ever joking, but seriously, no joke here. For this Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising sign, for this full moon in Virgo to new moon next in Aries, please, my Ascended Masters, the perfect healing mantra that they can heal. I mean, we've got the victim archetype on the table here, obviously an indication that this is all happening for them to alchemize into victory. Within their own energy fields, within their own soul pattern. It's not that they did something wrong. This is just how the divine plan is playing out in their personal, highly individualized curriculum. But there is an element of serenity here that perhaps they can tune to, right? About this deception, about this decision, about these bad choices that have been made, and this new love of self, possibly this spiritual growth available. No, I didn't even see what it was. Don't flip out of my hand. Please, my Ascended Masters, one card. Just what is the perfect healing mantra for this Cancerian collective? Sun, Moon, Rising sign. This full moon to new moon next, March 2020. One side of the card has the mantra, the other, the name of the mantra, so I can look it up in ye old bookie book. Let's have a look. Ooh, that rhymed. Unhooking the past. Holy crap, this is the one. This is the mantra. There is nothing to regret when I learned from my past. You see, ask and ye shall receive. really, go watch the video about how I bless the decks. You'll see how this gets set up. That's why I don't have to say anything. I could just pull the cards. Not as entertaining for you, but what a brilliant mantra. That's totally perfect. There is nothing to regret when I learn from my past, all right? Unhooking the past. Holy crap. Particularly with bad choices, you'll see that they're... I opened right to it. That they're not necessarily bad choices, though we may see them that way. When you unhook the past, you are able to see crucial moments of growth from fresh perspectives. This allows you to see the mistakes of your past, bad choices, as catalysts for development, not as something you did wrong. In other words, this had to go down for you to deal with that victim, victimizer into victory archetype. It's a soul power. It's survival family. Everybody has to do that sooner or later and repeatedly. It is an opportunity to see how your previous actions could have been better aligned with your highest values, like the value of you, the value of your guidance, your grace, your intuition, your self-estimation. When you learn today the things you didn't know before, like perhaps you've been deceived, you are able to meet your current circumstances with renewed clarity so the past can be unhooked instead of repeated. Worth it. Sucks, but worth it. This mantra is ideal for overcoming self-criticism, which is a form of self-estimation, but it's critical and cutting, right? Instead of building yourself up, you're tearing yourself down, paper cut by paper cut. Releasing shame and being more open-minded. Holy crap, Cancerians. This is what I mean. This is why I do the spiritual practice. If you saw what I do every day, it's not spiritual busy work, but I'm doing yoga and Wim Hof and breathing and prayer just so that I can get myself in alignment to serve, because I'm not going to talk about other readers because I don't know that many on YouTube. I've watched a bunch. But there are people out there who just picked up a deck and a book and start reading people. And not that they don't have intuition, everybody does. But I've been doing this for so long, I want to be the tarot witch ninja for you all, with the sense of humor and still remain being the fun one. Why? Because I've alchemized a lot of my victimizer into victory. It just comes with years of being deliberately on the spiritual path, right? So you've got this huge victory that can come from this, and perhaps remaining serene about this. Well, I've been deceived. That's what they do, because they were deceived. Do you see the point of victory there already? That stance of, well, I can't change anything about this, but watch what I can change, right? Because if you have been deceived, there's nothing like bringing clarity. Now, you might only have it in the intuitional or emotional sense that there's a deception going on here. So whether or not you confront people or not, really start looking at what your life-changing decisions are. In fact, I would say look at the decision you're most afraid to make. That's the one your soul is calling you towards, right? But perhaps because there have been bad choices before, there is part of that unsure of whether you should trust your gut here. But there is this new love coming from the higher self, right? The whisper of love from your higher self is saying that there is. Here, I'll read it. Embrace this new opportunity of love that is here. This may pertain to work opportunities or spiritual growth. And I believe that that is loving yourself in this new opportunity to love yourself in a new way for your own growth, but that you can, if you so choose, be unhooking the past with the mantra, there is nothing to regret when I learned from my past. There is nothing to regret when I learned from my past. 11 words. There is nothing to regret when I learned from my past. Yes, 11 words. To just repeat that as a mantra. It is a mantra. As if to say to the soul, your spirit, your guides, it's like, I am ready. I am willing. There's nothing to regret when I learned from my past. And that makes forgiveness a hell of a lot easier, because then in retrospect you could say, you know, if they didn't deceive me, I never would have gotten how truly powerful and accurate my own guidance and grace comes to me. Because guidance and grace is not the province of the mystical aligned at all. Some of the greatest intuitives on the planet, drug dealers. No shit, right? They have to know who's the narc, right? Thieves, deceivers, con men, right? So are they sitting there meditating and doing breath work every morning and eating kale? I don't even eat kale. It's a shrubbery. A shrubbery. So you can even maybe keep your sense of humor about this and saying, well, learning curve, those two words have gotten me through more crazy shit. Learning curve, right? Because it's all a learning curve and we're all in the learning curve. Really, really, really cool. Well, cool reading in that it really does make sense. It all plugs together. There's nothing here that I have any odd feelings does not belong, which sometimes happens in a reading, but that you certainly have the opportunity to do some massive healing, alchemy, and letting go, perhaps letting some people out of your life as you set new boundaries this full moon in Virgo to new moon next. And by the way, Virgo is the sign of boundaries, the Virgin. Do not cross. Yeah. Well, may the Cancerian collective be blessed with all that they need this full moon to new moon next March 2020, that they may make the most loving, wise, powerful decision about deceptions in their life, that they may maintain their serenity about choices made, good or bad, as they alchemize victim, victimizer into victory, embrace themselves in this opportunity for new love as they unhook the past, because there's nothing to regret when they learn from their past. May they be so blessed, my collective pantheons, here and now and moving forward through this Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising signs, for the well-being of all. And so it is. So mote it be. Thank you for watching my crablets, my crab cakes. I love you all so much. I can't wait to see my mom. I'm going to call her now because I miss her. Wishing you the very best and the very blessed of this full moon to new moon next. Please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please comment in the description box below. I really want to hear what this is. That's what I'm a mystic. I always want the mystery revealed, and sometimes they aren't, right? So I'm going to wish you again the very best and the very blessed of this new moon to full moon next, as I say. Hail. Farewell, and blessed be.